In this lesson, I want to talk about practicing your piping or painting or just having a practice surface in general. Now, if you're already kind of a seasoned cake decorator or, you have some experience, then this might not apply to you, but it might be something new that you haven't seen before and might be really useful to you. I know sometimes when I want to try a painted design or something that I think of in my head and I'm just not sure if it would work on buttercream, but I don't want to make a whole cake just to try out the technique. I want to try it out before I put it on the cake. So obviously the first one, which you may have already tried, and I use if I'm just practicing piping alone, practicing, a drawing, laying something out, a design, practicing piped flowers, zigzags, borders, things of that nature. I just use parchment paper. And you can just tape the corners down to your counter really flat. And then the nice thing about parchment paper is if you put buttercream on it, it scrapes right off. And you can just continue to practice. Keep piping your decorations on there. And wax paper also works the same, so you can use wax paper if you like. And most of the time I have random leftover pieces of parchment paper after I cut circles out for baking my cakes. So I just keep them and I can use them for piping flowers. So always save your little extra bits of parchment paper. It's nice to have them. You'll use them eventually. Sometimes mine pile up in a drawer and then eventually I get to it and then they're all gone and suddenly I'm looking for some. Now another thing that I do, and this is great for if you want to practice painting or, a specific type of buttercream application. These are actual buttercream sheets that I've made. And I just take leftover bits of buttercream, which typically when you decorate a cake for an order or for home or whatever, you'll have just a little random amount of buttercream left over, but instead of wasting it, you can spread it. And I've spread these just into flat, sort of, rectangular sheets, big enough to practice a design on. And the nice thing about these is that they're chilled. I keep these in the freezer, so if you go to paint on it or pipe something or, just add a new design, it's hard. See, I can press it. And you can just put these on, I just do 2 at a time on a cookie sheet, that's what fits. Put it in the freezer. Once they're frozen, they are so easy to just layer on top of one another with parchment in between to keep them from sticking. And then you just pop them right into a storage bag and just store them flat in the freezer and you can keep them for as long as you need until you use them. And these are great, like I said before, especially if you want to practice painting something. Like if you see a really neat flower technique that you want to paint and try, but you don't want to make a whole cake for it, then just have these ready to go and you can practice it right on the square and it's buttercream that you might have gotten rid of anyways. So I'm always looking for new ways to repurpose things. I don't like to waste. So this is just something fun that I've come up with. It's really helpful and useful.